I've been skeptical of the pill's assumed effect on the body for as long as I've known of its existence. But after I began researching the effects of the pill on women's brains, I discovered I was wrong. The effects of the pill are more dangerous and shocking than I could have ever imagined. In this video, I'm going to share with you how the birth control pill is able to control who women choose to date, their pregnancy, health of their children, their mood, stress response, sex drive, and mental health. We foolishly believe our laws and regulations mean billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies have no choice but to act in our best interests. If this is you, you are wrong.
In this morning's Health Watch, more than 11 million women in the United States use birth control pills.
Two very large studies out of Europe that appeared in the British Medical Journal, which showed that we've known that there's an increased risk in blood clots. That's not
Size, though, why getting a blood clot as a result of this is dangerous.
That's right. Well, in some cases, of course, it could be fatal. It can travel from the leg up to the lung, and that is a known risk of oral contraceptives.
Hi, I'm Melissa Kang. I'm a GP. I work at the University of Technology in Sydney. The depot injection contains a hormone. You inject it into your buttocks and it gives you 3 months worth of reversible contraception. Experience some weight gain, mood changes, acne perhaps, changes in your bleeding patterns. Most women actually stop bleeding altogether. There is some long-term effects, particularly for adolescents, and that is that you can lose some of your bone mineral density.
2 million women found their breast cancer risk jumped 20%. After 10 years, that risk grew to 38%.
CBC News has learned 2 birth control pills have suspected links to the deaths of at least 23 Canadians, Yasmin and 𝐤𝐤𝐤.
𝐤𝐤𝐤 and Yasmin are now suspected in the deaths of 23 Canadian females as young as 14 years old. He also claims more than 1,000 Canadian women have had gallbladders removed, strokes, or are on blood thinners for the rest of their lives. While Bayer has already paid more than $1 billion settling thousands of lawsuits in the U.S., in a statement to CBC, the drug company says, "We are very disappointed in Justice Crane's decision to certify a class in Ontario in an ongoing lawsuit regarding 𝐤𝐤𝐤 and Yasmin. We fully stand behind 𝐤𝐤𝐤 and Yasmin."
Doctors had hoped new forms of birth control using fewer hormones might be safer, but tonight's study reports they still increase a woman's risk of breast cancer.
And I suffered a double brainstem stroke 3 years ago. It has left me with right-sided weakness and paralysis of the fingers, the toes and the ankle.
I had a deep vein thrombosis in the vessel of my brain as a result of being on the pill.
I was diagnosed with pulmonary embolism in both my lungs, which I was told by the doctors it was due to taking the pill.
So last summer when I was diagnosed with a very rare liver disease called Budd-Chiari syndrome as a result of taking...
In January of this year, ITV News ran an article about the death of a young woman, a 21-year-old called Fallon Carec. There was actually an article about the inquest into her death, an inquest that showed that her death was linked to the contraceptive pill.
They will tell you the birth control pill was designed to empower women. And whilst that may be true, whilst many women have become more professionally successful and able to live fuller lives, at what cost has this been achieved? As women continue to excel academically and professionally, we have also seen a rise in adultery, divorce, single motherhood, infertility, IVF treatment, depression, anxiety, and suicide. Maybe the birth control pill wasn't designed to help women. Maybe it was designed to help men. Maybe it was designed so men could have sex with as many women as possible without any consequences. Aided by the pill, sex has now been degraded to simple swipe rights and short videos for the world to binge on. Sex is everywhere you turn, you can't escape it. Sex and women are used to sell everything, from movies to music, boxing matches to sports cars and TV shows. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Would you still think that if I told you the first birth control pill ever created was actually invented for men by the same man who co-founded the female birth control pill years later? Why has the burden of birth control fallen on women? Women should be able to have casual sex if they want, or have sex with their partners without worrying about getting pregnant, but they should not be expected to sacrifice their health for this. The longer the real effects of the pill remain hidden, the further we are from creating a viable alternative. Women are to a large extent controlled by their hormones, but so are men. It's not something that is exclusive to women. Hormones are just biochemical signals used to help the body execute certain actions. Men have a sex hormone cycle too. Around 12 they go through puberty, where their voice changes, they start getting hairy, and their genitals grow. Then, when men get into a relationship and have a baby, men's bodies purposely produce less testosterone in order to help the man focus on looking after their children rather than continuing to seek out sex. In their 30s, men have a male menopause, where testosterone starts to fall naturally, making the man weaker in strength, reduces their sex drive, creates sleeping issues, and increases the risk of mood swings and depression. Women just happen to have a much shorter cycle when it comes to their sex hormone, one which can last from 4 to 6 weeks. For the first half of the female cycle, the estrogen hormone is dominant. It peaks gradually and remains at its highest level for the 5 days leading up to the day of ovulation. On the day of ovulation, the ovaries release an egg to be fertilized within 24 hours. For the second half of the cycle, post the day of ovulation, the progesterone hormone is dominant. Progesterone levels slowly decrease as estrogen becomes dominant again, and so the cycle repeats itself. Sex hormones are able to influence many functions in the female body, from mood, sense of smell, sight, and even digestion. Which parts of the body are affected will be dependent on which sex hormone is dominant at that particular time. The estrogen peak ramps up the female sex drive to encourage the delivery of sperm, whereas the progesterone peak does not produce an egg and instead prepares the body for a possible pregnancy. Scientists figured if they can trick the body into not getting the estrogen high of the first half of the cycle, and instead keep replaying the signal of the second half of the cycle, when the female body is in a state of progesterone dominance, there will be no ovulation, there will be no egg, and there will be no baby. And in principle, they were completely right. But disrupting and manipulating the female cycle using the pill is directly interfering with who a woman would normally be. How a woman behaves on the pill is not how she would have behaved off the pill. A woman's personality on the pill is completely different to her personality off the pill. When testing the pill for side effects, medical researchers have only tested for things that pose a threat to a woman's survival, like blood clots or strokes. Until now, little study has been done into the psychological and social effects that taking the birth control pill has on women. At a time when it hasn't been more difficult to find the one, the last thing women need is the pill clouding their judgment when deciding whom they should date, but it does. When estrogen is high, conception is the evolutionary goal. It's to choose the best mates, to produce the best offspring that will survive and thrive. A trend of desired traits has been passed down through evolution in women that is sparked during the estrogen high. Most naturally cycling women prefer the smell of men who are socially dominant, who have symmetrical faces with sharp jawlines and deep voices. Naturally cycling women are most interested in sex during this estrogen high. Around this time they feel sexier, they're more open to new sexual experiences, wear more makeup, and wear what they perceive as sexier clothes. This entire attitude shift is directly influenced by estrogen to put women in a state in which they feel good about having sex, to provide sperm for the egg that is due at the time of ovulation. Pill-taking women, however, do not have an estrogen spike. As a result, they choose men with less masculine round faces who are not socially dominant. It's not that pill-taking women find unattractive men more attractive. It's that their minds are less able to pick up on attractiveness cues passed down by their ancestors. Pill-taking women's brains and senses do not work as well as naturally cycling women's do. The pill starves women of the natural estrogen high necessary to pick up on these subtle subconscious cues. The estrogen high, which pill-taking women will never experience, heightens naturally cycling women's sense of smell, sight, and sound to pick up on the shapes of men's faces, depth of their voices, and smell. Sexual chemistry between two partners is an essential part of a relationship. Sexual intimacy problems between a couple are unlikely to be attributed to the pill, but they could be. Naturally cycling women record higher satisfaction in most areas of their relationships versus pill-taking women, including sexual satisfaction. Pill-taking women want to have less sex than naturally cycling women, and may also experience more problems and discomfort. This is because pill-taking women see a natural decline in their testosterone levels, which stifles arousal, responsiveness to sex, and even vaginal lubrication. The female brain on the pill is less concerned with anything sex-related and actively avoids it. Unlike naturally cycling women who have an estrogen spike every month, pill-taking women are found to be less likely to invest in efforts to increase their appearance, like dieting, exercising, shopping to buy nice clothes, tanning, or using cosmetics. This may not seem like an issue, but men being more visual in their attraction will eventually begin to miss this aspect of their partners. Weight gain is an important topic for everyone, but women are under a uniquely insidious pressure to be slim, and the pill doesn't help the situation. The pill, which acts as artificial progesterone, is actually redesigned and recoded testosterone, the male sex hormone. Scientists find it easier to manipulate the structure of testosterone, which is the reason why it is used in the pill. Because the pill is redesigned testosterone, it can have masculinizing side effects on women, like causing spot breakouts, hair growth in irregular places, decreased verbal fluency, and weight gain. As well as this, when estrogen is high and the body is preparing itself for ovulation, the body requires the female to support the delivery of sperm. So during this time, more attention and energy is put towards sex and exercise, rather more so than things like eating or digestion. This effect can be so subtle it goes unnoticed. Conversely, the desire for a female to intake food is greatest when progesterone is high, as the body prepares for a potential pregnancy, which is the very state the pill keeps women in all of the time. So the pill doesn't directly make you put on weight, but it keeps you constantly hungry and sleepy, which creates the environment for you to put on weight. How men view naturally cycling women and pill-taking women is different too. The pill is able to negatively affect the social dynamics of a couple's relationship. In a study, mate guarding was used as a barometer to test men's attitudes towards their partners throughout their cycles. Mate guarding can be as simple as a guy being bothered about his partner hanging out with other guys, or his partner being surrounded by other men at the bar. But it can also be the mechanism to motivate guys to be romantic and chivalrous in order to keep excitement and love in their relationships. The study found partners of pill-taking women are less likely to mate guard because they know any infidelity will not lead to a baby. Again, this is a subconscious cue passed down by our ancestors. Guys will not even know they're doing it. If this disconnect was to continue throughout a relationship, it could eventually spiral into a lack of overall intimacy and mark the end of a relationship. Both spouses will again be left not knowing that the pill could have been the cause. Oxytocin is the hormone that is released to make your brain's reward centers light up during positive experiences. It can be used to indicate that the person you are with is someone special to you. For naturally cycling women, oxytocin creates that warm, indescribable feeling that you get in the presence of your partner, separating him from every other guy. This oxytocin surge helps women see their partners in a more loving way, as more attractive, and promotes emotional bonding. Pill-taking women do not experience this surge in oxytocin. The brains of pill-taking women do not show the expected neurological brain activity when they are around their partners that is seen in naturally cycling women. As a result, the pill could be creating a disconnection in relationships, reducing the ability of women to bond on a deeper biochemical level with their partners, which is crucial for a loving relationship. In much the same way, cortisol release, the stress response hormone within the body, differs between naturally cycling women and pill-taking women too. Cortisol release, while normally linked to bad events, is triggered in many situations. It is released during sex, exercise, physical attraction, and getting exciting news. Cortisol is used to help deepen our physical and emotional experiences. It does this through perception vigilance, which is where the body flags events in your life to help you remember your good and bad experiences. These memories of your physical and emotional experiences help you avoid things you hate and remind you of things you love in the future. Pill-taking women do not experience the same cortisol hormone behavior as naturally cycling women, but not because they are less stressed. Pill-taking women are so dangerously stressed that their entire stress response just shuts off. Without the cortisol surge, pill-taking women find it difficult to experience the sexual attraction feedback response, and more generally are less likely to feel stimulated by things that would normally make them happy, like music or food or long-held hobbies. Over the long term, issues with the cortisol response causes brain fuzziness, depression, diabetes, heart disease, and the deregulation of the body's inflammation response, which itself is linked to DNA damage, cell damage, tissue degeneration, premature aging, fatigue, chronic pain, memory impairment, and Alzheimer's disease, which makes the mystery that women are statistically more likely to suffer from Alzheimer's disease than men less surprising. A Norwegian study shows that women who take the birth control pill are 50% more likely to be diagnosed for depression within 6 months, 40% more likely to be medicated for depression than naturally cycling women, twice as likely to attempt suicide, and more than 3 times as likely to successfully carry out a suicide. Serotonin, dopamine, and GABA are chemicals used to help slow the pace of the brain, allowing it to relax, creating that calming feeling when you sink into a warm bath, eat a chocolate dessert, or cuddle with your partner on the sofa. You can think of serotonin, dopamine, and GABA as natural sedatives in the body used to combat anxiety and depression. Naturally occurring progesterone of the second half of the cycle plays a role in creating the receptors for the GABA chemicals to attach to, so they can work. It does this by being broken down into a steroid called allopregnanolone, which is the chemical that triggers the GABA receptors to slow down and calm the brain. Originally intended to discourage the female from engaging in crazy activities that could compromise egg implantation in the uterus. Pill-taking women have less GABA receptor activity than naturally cycling women because they do not have a natural progesterone spike. The progesterone that pill-taking women have inside of them is artificial, derived from testosterone. Decreased GABA activity is known to make a person feel more anxious, overwhelmed, and depressed. Low levels of GABA activity are linked to panic disorder, depression, and bipolar disorder. Whether or not a woman is taking the birth control pill when she chooses her partner has the potential to influence the success of her pregnancy and the health of her children. Naturally cycling women prefer the smell of men whose immune genes are different to their own. This is an important subconscious preference that has been passed down through evolution, since couples with different immune genes produce children with better health. Pill-taking women who are not able to pick up on these subconscious cues are at risk of choosing men with similar immune genes to their own. which can lead to the birth of children with less sophisticated immune systems. Research shows couples with similar immune genes find it more difficult to get and stay pregnant. Research conducted on couples with unexplained miscarriages found a significant trend of this immune system similarity between the parents. But more generally, the longer women delay their decisions to find husbands and have children enabled by the birth control pill, the more likely they are to begin trying for a baby at a time when they are naturally less fertile. More disappointing than the effect of the pill on women's brains is the arbitrary reasons why irresponsible doctors prescribe the pill to women and teenagers as young as 14. The birth control pill is often prescribed to women and teenagers who may be experiencing cramps, spot breakouts, and irregular periods, rather than to prevent pregnancy. It is thought the birth control pill is overprescribed and many women could benefit from alternative means of birth control. GPs' lack of effort to educate has led to a lot of ignorance amongst women about their options. The medical research industry is responsible for the 50-year delay in the true effects of the birth control pill remaining unknown, and this includes female research scientists. Most modern-day medication is tested on men, so any reported benefits and side effects have little relevance to women. Even at the animal testing stage, male mice are favoured over female mice, a trend which continues into human clinical trials. This is because medical research done on women is far more costly and time-consuming because of women's changing hormones than research done on men. In order to conduct a fair study on a group of women large enough to produce a conclusive outcome, it will be necessary to synchronize the menstrual cycles of the entire subject group. Until now, even female research scientists have neglected this area of study. The problem is so rife that despite women disproportionately suffering from Alzheimer's disease, still to this day the majority of research which informs Alzheimer's study is conducted on male mice. It's convenient for the world not to look into the real effects of the birth control pill. Women get to control their ability to get pregnant, and men get to continue to have casual sex without a condom, except all the while the pill is damaging women's and teenagers' brains and lives. What I have shared with you today is just the tip of the iceberg. There is still so much that is not known. I still maintain my original point, that no matter what doctors think they know, suppressing a human being's hormones, the very chemicals that make them who they are, is playing with fire. I hope with this video, women and teenagers all over the world will be better informed to make their birth control decisions. And for the guys watching, don't worry, they're coming for you too. Thank you.
So I'm Stephanie Page. I'm a professor of medicine in the Division of Endocrinology at the University of Washington School of Medicine. So this is an early phase study in humans lasting 1 month, which is to evaluate a prototype male hormonal contraceptive or male pill. So 100 men were enrolled and 83 completed all the procedures. This study was actually designed to test a variety of different doses and formulations. So we tested 5 different types of pills in this particular study, 3 doses and 2 formulations.